Hey, just kidding. Only one of us is stuck today, and it is not me. It's QX is going to be joining us later. That's him. He's not really pretending. He's actually not here just yet for reasons we're not going to disclose, but something to do with dogs and stuff and eating his homework. Anyway, hey, everybody. Welcome to another exciting edition of the weekly Ergo AMA. I am your host with the most, Dan Friedman. And with me, well, for right now, I have a still shot of QX, the king of Sigmanauts, the master of the Sig protocol disaster, the king of Ergo Sting. QX is going to be with us with us shortly. Meanwhile, you're just going to have to tolerate 100% of Dan. And you should be, everybody should be that lucky. Anywho. All right. Well, listen, a lot of stuff happening in the Ergo ecosystem, a lot of stuff happening in the background as well. It's actually not that much in the background anymore. So, the main thing, the big thing that we've been doing this week, and we are actually having a great response about. Yeah, Wendy, I'm sorry, you're gonna have to take 100% Dan, as long as Quality Extreme is just out to stuff. Oh yeah, okay, you need 110%. Okay, all right, I'll give you. Yeah. Anyway, right. So the thing that has been really exciting is the SBO sign up for Rosenbridge. So we put out a form to sign up SBOs for the Rosenbridge test group, and I think we got something like over 40 applicants or 50 applicants literally within a few hours, and it's going up. So a lot of excitement about Rosen, a lot of excitement about working with Rosen on the Cardano side, and yeah, that's just really exciting because it's definitely going to be an awesome launch with that kind of participation. So really excited about this. So yeah, we've been really kind of pushing along with that proposal. Yeah, it's just, the work continues. A lot of things happening in the background, but that's really the most interesting one this week. Anyway, so when QX comes in,
I'm here, Dan. I've been listening to you the whole time.
Okay, is that a voice in my head or is that like really him?
That's really me, Dan.
Let's see. Where are you right now?
I am in New York.
You're in New York. Okay, hold on one second. I got something. Just hold 1 second, okay? Just hold on 1 second.
I'm holding.
Okay. All right. I'm just listen, don't take this the wrong way, but I am just checking, okay? Let's see. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Can you read this? Can you read this? Oh wait. Damn it. Hold on. Yeah. Okay. Now. Oh, yeah, there we go. Can you read this?
I can't, Dan.
You can't. Well, that's a CAPTCHA. So you're not real. You're not real. You can't read that. You're not real. Good try, though, bot.
Did you actually hear that there is a YouTuber, I think, recently that's going to try that? He's going to try to you can create your own persona, a digital avatar, and then you can feed it through all of your past YouTube shows, and it will create content for you, essentially. So he's going to try that. It's quite interesting. I think we should do that for the AMA, Dan.
Is that like a pun? Are you trying to say something?
No. I'm just saying, on those days where people are busy, you're busy, doing whatever you do all day.
So you're suggesting that we unleash bots on the community? Listen, there was just recently a Black Mirror episode just like that about AI generated content from just taking people taking information about people creating AI generated content. That didn't go too well for them.
Oh yeah, so that was a good one. That was a great episode,
it was like the first one. What is it? Jane is awful.
Yeah. Yep. Salma Hayek. That was fantastic.
Yeah. Especially the church scene. The church scene was really powerful.
Oh, it's good. I wish they would have gone into more detail with that.
Yeah, I bet you do. Anyway, now that we have hit rock bottom, let's try to push ourselves back up. And what's been going on with the Sigmanauts, with the silent army of Ergo?
Are we silent? Are we that silent? Is that our nickname?
The silent army of Ergo, the semi-noisy army of Ergo.
Perfect. I like that. That's great. Well, can you hear me all right? I'm trying to keep my voice down because of my bride has a meeting. I
hear you too well.
Perfect.
It's too well. I would like to reduce the quality, please.
So this week I just posted the meeting notes in chat yesterday or the day before. We did a lot more discussion on how we're going to utilize the treasury funds that were given to the Sigmanauts. And that would be, just as a reminder, that's about 5,300 Sig Erg and about 10,000 US dollars worth of terahertz token. And, well, here are my dogs. Fantastic.
Wait, your dogs are part of the treasury?
That'd be nice. We could pay them. I'd take that.
Okay.
And
does your dog want to come on the AMA?
You'll probably see him if you can hear him.
Okay. Go ahead.
Anyway, we have so the talk was mainly about how to continue on and how to distribute those, how to what the ideas are. Should we run competitions? Should we dump it all? Like that guy that came in and wanted $25,000 for to cover us on YouTube, kind of thing. So there was a lot of discussion about that during the meeting, and this is really breaking my focus.
Yeah, well, at least we can say that all your dogs are barking.
Yes. My sister's coming from California today, so they're greeting her right now at the front door. Anyway, let's try this.
That's very nice of them. Really hospitable.
Let's try to continue on here. So we kind of reached an impasse that I'll talk about in the meeting, and the impasse was the main sticking point we're having issues with is trying to figure out how we manage funds that are given to us by projects. So let's say Dan starts a project. Let's call it Bengate or something, or Bengay, like the cream that hurts your, that kind of
hemorrhoidal cream. Thank you.
You got it. So Dan starts a token like that, and he's really happy about it, and he wants to have some sort of legitimacy, perhaps, or utilize the SIGs for promotions. So he donates 500,000 tokens to the SIGs treasury. Now the question remains: does that obligate the SIGs to actually see Dan's project through and make sure it succeeds, so we can have, those 500,000 tokens instead of the nickel that they're worth now? Maybe they're worth a dime in the future, kind of thing. So that's really the question. And then there are many more implications that roll on top of that, because we're a small group at the moment, and we do not have the bandwidth to be doing that for every single project who dumps in, feel some responsibility to do it. To advertise for them, to promote for them, to see their brand grow because they donated to us. So that was a big sticking point for us to try to figure out what our responsibilities are there. And then some people suggested, hey, if people aren't donating to the SIGs treasury and ERGs, then let's just liquidate their tokens and redeem the ERGs and put those back into the treasury. And we run into an issue with that, because if Dan sees that, let's say Pepe ERG donates a ton of Pepe ERGs to the treasury, and we liquidate them immediately, Dan with his Bengay token is going to be like, screw that. There's no way I'm going to donate any tokens to the SIGs treasury, because they're just going to drain my darn liquidity. So we run into that issue as well. So it's a real tricky talking point that we're trying to get through. So in the meantime, we've working on putting a blanket statement that essentially says, look, If a project wants to donate to the SIG's treasury to support the SIGs, that's great. It's at your own risk. It's at your own discretion. But we promise that we're not going to liquidate your tokens for now. We'll do no greater than 1% price impact on the liquidity pool per week to utilize those tokens for whatever we see fit. And that could be for giveaways, that could be for promotions, that could be for competitions, that could be to reimburse somebody. So at that kind of discretion. So that blanket statement is actually going to be put up for vote momentarily. I had to tweak a little bit of it and put it up for vote for the SIGs. So that'll kind of cover our asses for donations. So now that that part is kind of taken care of with the SIGs, we're trying to baby step out of that. So we've got about 5 or 6 action items. If you guys want to check the Telegram posts or Discord posts that I made the other day about what we're doing. And that ranges from reaching out to influencers to see, maybe how much they'll charge, or maybe if they're not, if they're interested in, instead of charging, perhaps we say, hey, Dan, for your Bengay token, what if we give you 250 ergs and we sponsor a competition with you, and your channel draws in a bunch of people because you're giving away 250 ergs, and we work together, kind of like we did for Erg1 for the Ergo Summit. So we're hoping those more genuine kind of spends will be maybe a little more beneficial than dumping $25,000 on an influencer to do one video and it's set in, one and done kind of thing. So that's one idea there. There's another idea that came across that Louis Vatra, we asked Louis if he would consider adding some sort of little tax to the tip bot. And some of them donated to the SIGs after that, as well as fund Twitter. And he responded very well, and he'd like to be on Twitter too. And the SIGs see a very huge benefit of being on Twitter with the tipper bot. It's a very easy way to engage people in the ecosystem by tipping them by Ergo native tokens. So Louis is modifying his bot to raise funds for that Twitter API. And for those of you that don't know, it's now $100 a month for the Twitter API for some sort of usefulness out of their API calls. So anything left over from that, Louis has volunteered to donate to the SIGs. So that's a fantastic move, I think, to sustain that bot and to get it back on Twitter, which is the more important thing, I think, getting it on Twitter. And I won't go through the rest of the things, but there's several more action items that we're all working on to try to generate revenue for the SIGs, to give something attractive to the community that maybe the projects will pay for, to engage the SIGs as far as that goes. But if you're interested, please watch the meeting or check out the meeting notes. Really good topics. These donations have really made a huge difference in how many people are talking in the SIGs and how much action's happening. So it's a very good thing.
So I'm sorry I didn't kind of follow up on things there, but did you raise the money you needed for the treasury?
We raised 360 erg more than the money we needed. So we raised 5,300 erg. Yep.
Right. So those 300 erg, I'll send you my erg wallet address, and yeah.
Oh, I've already spent them, Dan. I gave them to my dogs.
Right. We're gonna have to talk about that. We're gonna have to talk about that quality extreme.
Did you talk about Zengate while I was not here? Yeah.
I did not talk about Zengate even once.
How's Zengate going?
I even didn't wear the hat. Even though why is it blurring out the hat? Don't blur out the hat. That's the hat. Yeah, I didn't wear the hat. Oh, now it's not blurring out. See, I'm wearing it now, but I refrained from wearing the hat. It was all about Ergo. Zengate is going really, really well. We are finishing up the smart contracts for Winter Protocol, which is the traceability and tokenization protocol that will basically be the engine under the hood of Palmyra that will run on Ergo. It'll use Ergo NFTs for tokenization and for traceability. So this is being spearheaded by Luca and MG Pi. And yeah, we're like literally in the home stretch here. It's really exciting. It's really innovative tech. We actually had a Twitter space about it yesterday, because after we're done with the Ergo protocol, a winter protocol, we would like to port it over to Cardano so that it can be used on Cardano. And I mean, kind of my wish is actually that the protocol is used on both. So you can launch the protocol on Cardano, but then you can use Ergo assets across Rosen. So you could move assets across Rosen. You can still utilize Ergo for the tokenization, and then just move it over to Cardano. Something like that. I think it would be really cool to be able to do that. So. That's really close to being done. I believe we should be done probably within the next maybe 1 to 2 weeks with the protocol. And this is a pretty extensive protocol. It uses a very popular shipping standard, and it's just really fleshed out. It's like some major innovation. This is actually even better than what I kind of envisioned when we started building this out, because Luca and MG Pi, I mean, those guys just, kind of took this thing and ran with it. So just really excited about it.
You have any need for public testing or private testing in the future coming up?
I think actually, we will. There's going to be a need for public and private testing. Obviously private first, public second, and really soon. So if that's something that you would like to be involved in, reach out to me. Not just you, QX, but anybody who thinks that they can help contribute to this. Reach out to me on whatever medium, on Twitter, on Telegram, on knock on my door. I live in Shigenowate. It's right outside of Osaka. It's more east. But basically what you do is you take the Tokyo Expressway to the Hanshin Expressway, take the Hanshin Expressway to Higashi Osaka. Okay. So basically it's gonna change to Kanjo-sen and Higashi Osaka. You go to the Higashi Osaka side towards Nara. Okay, and you get off at the Mizuhai exit. Okay, so just anybody who wants to stop by, just let me know. I'll be here, or you can come down to the office in Homachi. Again,
it's going to be murdered by next week. It's just going to be Joe on the AMA. That's it. Or Dan.
Well, I mean, this is Japan, so not too many people are packing heat, but they are packing swords and stuff. So I am. It's cool. It's cool. Come at me.
Did you mention Nippopaus yet, Dan?
I have not, but you did. So why don't you talk about it? Because that's really exciting, right?
That is amazing. So you'll notice in chats and on Twitter, actually, there are several people, very exciting, that have been doing these nodes on their phones in a matter of minutes with Nippopaus and bootstrapping combination.
MHS Sam just did this. He did the tweet. Where he did it on his
Galaxy
phone.
Fold phone. Yeah. That was pretty sweet.
That's awesome. It's just awesome.
He had the web interface up top and the terminal down at the bottom on the split screen. It was pretty damn cool. So, I mean, this opens up a whole new world. I think this is reference node 5.0.13. And I think CW tweeted it immediately, when fridge or something. So this is going to be amazing to be able to run these light clients on almost anything and help with the security of the network as far as that goes, which is absolutely amazing. So Nippopaus, if you want to know more about them, stay tuned and look for CW's running a competition actually for the next month. I want to mention that he's looking for a ton of different infographics on several different topics. And I think there's like 350 ERG for a prize right now. So you'll see some information about Nippopaus there as well coming throughout the month. And then, of course, for the final competition. But that's pretty neat. So Nippopaus, absolutely amazing tech. There's a whole white paper on it as well online that you guys can read up on, but very, very cool. I can't wait to run.
And you can also ask your dog
my
because,
fridge.
your dog seems to know a lot about Nippopaus.
I'm gonna brain that dog. We could run. Yeah. We could put a note on the dog shock collar, the electric collar, probably.
I think your dog's mistaken it for Nip Bow Wows. Hmm? Hmm?
The poor dog just got back from the vet, got like 4 shots. He's all loopy. What
Really?
can you do? Yeah.
Can I
What
have
else
some of
happened?
that?
Yeah. What else happened in the ecosystem this week? I wasn't prepared with this meeting, so I didn't look it
Well,
up too much.
it's okay. It's not a meeting, old timer. This is
Wait, other people are watching this?
Yeah. So keep your shirt on.
Oh, damn it. Glad you can't see my pants. We got any questions? We can take some questions.
We got some questions. Yes, we got some questions.
Fantastic.
So we got a couple of Zengate questions. I'll grab those. And there's also a Nipapau question that you can get because you're just, Nipapaus, Nibawaus. So, yeah. All right. So I'll kind of, go through these questions quickly because they are, they are part of the same. It's kind of the same thing that I know that's really eloquent, but anyway, whatever. I got up at 5 a.m. today. It's 10:30 right now p.m. So sorry about that. Anyway, so Augustus Kent asks, does Zengate have any strategy for reaching people outside of the crypto space? And who are the competitors to what you are doing? Okay. So first of all, reaching people outside the crypto space. Our entire sales and onboarding strategy is literally that. We are targeting people outside of the crypto space. In fact, we're not targeting anybody inside the crypto space. In fact, Anthony, who you might know as Sigma UTXO, he is also helping, he's part of the Zengate team right now. And we just had a call about this today. And so he actually asked, when do we talk about blockchain? My answer was probably never. And really, if you're talking to a producer, a tea producer in Sri Lanka, or you're talking to a buyer, or you're talking to a trader, they just want to know that it works. Does it work? Does it make their business better? Does it make them more money? Does it solve problems they have with logistics, with traceability, with accountability, with transparency? Well, if it does, then that's really 99.9% of mainstream users will only care about that. And so my answer was that if they start asking, okay, so, well, how does it happen, right? How does traceability happen? Well, yeah, we have a digitization suite that utilizes modern tech to create a transparent, immutable ledger. If they start asking, well, what is that? Then we talk about, well, use blockchain, right? And then we get into the blockchain aspect. But mainly, we hardly ever talk about the blockchain aspect, and that is by design. Because, like I said before, how many people know how to use the Visa card? How many people know how the Visa network works, how the payment rails, how the Visa stuff works under the hood, and how many people care? You think about that, and then you'll understand how any mainstream market works, any mass market, mass adoption happens. And that's how we should do it, and that's how we're doing it at Zengate, and that's how that is how we're onboarding people, and we're already onboarding producers and buyers onto the platform in the Palmyra Pioneers program. And again, I don't really think anybody asked me about blockchain. They just really like what it does. They really like the functionality, but they're not really asking what's under the hood. If they do, I'll tell them. But we aim to lead with utility and not with tech, and it is working. Who are the competitors to what you're doing? So the approach we're taking is pretty novel. So there is really nobody who does exactly what we're doing. However, there are different companies that do kind of parts of what we're doing, right? So there's companies that do, say, blockchain traceability. There's companies that do direct sourcing of commodities. And they do underserved commodities. Like there's this one company called Nut Nose, and they specialize in different types of nuts. buying and selling and sourcing direct from the producer. And so, and they're very successful. And so that is the kind of competition, if you want to call it, we have. But I mean, really, the competition is not there because the aggregate approach is so novel that through all the analysis that we've done, we have not found anybody who's like really close or doing exactly the same as we are. And so, yeah, but we're constantly doing analysis, constantly checking the market. So if there is somebody, we will know and we will learn what they're doing, and we'll make sure that we maintain competitiveness. Now, the second question here is, are you planning a full suite of quality management, traceability, inventory control tools for Zengate? Yes. Yes, we are. So traceability obviously is going to be part of the MVP. Inventory control tools, yes. These are also going to later on be part of the traceability suite, and part of what we call value add services. And so we are going to have value add services embedded in the platform. Now, quality management, that is a bit of a it's not really straightforward, right? So some places actually have their own quality management. However, there's also government agencies that do quality management. So the actual action of quality management in a lot of these jurisdictions is already covered. What you need to actually implement in them is a way to share information and acquired credentials from these regulatory agencies, and basically be able to attain certifications, attain all these documents that they need for export and for sales quickly. Because, like, for example, right now, so Sri Lankan tea quality control is one of the agencies that oversees that is called the Sri Lankan Tea Board. And so basically that's the main regulatory agency in Sri Lanka that regulates tea. And so what happens is when somebody comes up with a crop, what they have to do is they have to send samples for testing to the tea board, right? The tea board then does the testing. Then they have to get back to the tea board and they have to pick up the certification that will grant them the permission to sell that particular product. Now, this is not done electronically. This is done manually. So somebody literally has to take samples, put them in their car, drive from wherever they are to Colombo, if they're in Goal or if they're in Kandy, 6-7 hours one way. Stay at the tea board for quite some time, get these submitted, wait for a response from the tea board when the testing is done, and then drive back to Colombo from wherever they are, again, 6-7 hours one way, and both ways it takes like a half a day to pick up the certification. Now, a lot of this can be avoided with digital credentials. And digital credentials can also be used for quality control because of the transparency. So if the agency literally certifies a digital credential, you can then basically go back and say, yes, this product, in fact, has been tested. It has been quality assured. This is the real deal, because there's a lot of fake stuff out there, a lot of fake sale on tea out there. And so this is actually costing the industry money. So that's where we're going to go with quality control. And of course, we're going to have an internal scoring system as well. But it's just going to be, again, it's going to be an aggregate. It's going to be a combination solution. Okay, I think I answered that enough. So here's Quality Extreme.
That was a great answer, Dan.
Thank you. I had a ghostwriter though, so it's
ChatGPT.
Yeah, it was ChatGPT. Yeah. Okay, so this is a kind of a quick branding question. So Nipopos need to be rebranded to something sexier. Is it accurate to call it Super Block Compressor? What do you think, UX?
That might be above my pay grade. But from what I understand, how it works is it's using super blocks. It's for those of you who don't know, every once in a while there's a block created that has what is it, a different string at the beginning or something like that. So it's considered a super block, essentially like a keyframe in video editing. You reference it, think of it that way. So the way that NIPA POWs work, and for those of you that don't know, NIPA POWs, what's it stand for? Non-interactive proof of work, I think. Non-interactive proof of work. Yeah. So the way it works is it allows you to not have to download the whole blockchain by verifying that this super block is accurate and matches up and checks out. Then you can assume that other things are accurate as well. So, I mean, I guess in a sense, you're compressing that knowledge and relying on a super block for that. But I think we could get more creative than that, perhaps. But that's a good suggestion. But again, I could be wrong in my interpretation of that, so that could be completely relevant. But yeah, I think the best thing to come out of the community so far is what is it, demirage? I think that's a fantastic term to describe storage rent. So we're getting there.
Yeah, demirage.
Is that how you pronounce it? I think so.
Yeah, I think so too.
You ever do one of those things, Dan, where you spend like 2 years reading a series of books? I did those with the Robert Jordan books, the Wheel of Time books. And I'm like through the 5th or 6th book, and I'm finally talking to my buddy who's reading it as well. And he pronounces a character's name, and I'm like, poof, that's not even how I even thought to pronounce it. You don't hear anybody else say it,
yeah. I've done that. Yeah, definitely. In fact, I do that with some Ergo stuff. I read the Ergo stuff, and then people heard me mispronounce stuff probably a few times because I'm looking at it. I'm like, what did I say? I'm like, what is it? Autolycos? Yeah.
or ADA, right?
Yeah, but that will get your ass kicked. Autolycos is, I'm like, Autolycos. I never heard anybody say it. I just keep reading about it. So I was like, Autolycos.
I can't correct it. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, it's weird that it's Autolycos, but it's Autolyc. Why is there a Y there? Anyway,
let me add while you're looking up another question. Citergo released a new wallet, and if you look at the Ergo Summit, there's a video that I did on Citergo's beta version of the wallet, and his new release does 2 cool things, at least off the top of my head. One is he's bundled in a Windows installer, so if you're on a Windows machine, there's no more unzipping and running a bat file. It's actually an installer that puts a shortcut on your desktop, I believe. And the second cool thing is he's integrated Ergo Pay. So now your desktop full node wallet can interact with Spectrum or any other DApp that uses Ergo Pay. So absolutely fantastic job by Aberg, aka Mutoshi, on that wallet.
Good job indeed. Now we got a couple of quick questions about Caspa. So thoughts on Caspa saving the human race? Yes. Caspa, like for example, in 1945, it found where Hitler was fighting in the bunker and killed Hitler. Then in the year 2000, it stopped the Y2K bug. Stopped it, right? Just like in its tracks. All the COBOL recoding thing was useless because of Caspa. Like 20 minutes ago, my back really hurt, right? I thought of Caspa, my back doesn't hurt anymore. Also, Caspa makes for a delicious midnight snack. So just FYI.
It's pretty versatile, right, Dan.
What?
It's pretty versatile, Dan. It's almost like a Sneed from Dr. Seuss. It does everything.
Yeah. It dices, it slices, it makes French fries in 3 different sizes. It's
Do you own any Caspa, Dan?
No, but I like the song about rocking the Caspa.
I don't. It's another mispronunciation, Dan.
Rocking the Caspa. Come on, they kinkled up as jet fighters. Pew pew. Right? That's how it goes, right?
I don't think so.
Reckon the Caspa. Yeah. All right. Caspa means dandruff in Spanish. Well, that's very flaky of them. Anyway. This is a good question right here. We get this question once in a while, and I really like answering this every time. So the question is, I know that the Ergo ecosystem open source, in the Ergo ecosystem, open source code is important. How do you deal with open source code and the possibility of copycat from other projects and chains?
Dan's got a special task force called the Ergonators. And anything that happens, they just get taken care of, right? Like
if you copy the Ergo, I will open source you. You will be open sourceinated.
Let's hear your answer, Dan. What you got?
Anyway. Okay, so open source copycat. You can do it. That's kind of what that's kind of not a black and white type of thing. So what is a copycat? Is it using the code to build your own product? Well, that's kind of what it's for. Open source is for allowing other projects to use the code base and build their own products with the code base. So there's nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with using the code. Now, as a open source ecosystem, what you would expect and would like to have the users of the code do is contribute, right? So first of all, you keep it open source. So if you make adjustments to the code, you open source those adjustments and you open source those updates. If you build something out of it, you open source that. If you do code audits, you're transparent with that. So as long as you add to the open source consortia, it's perfectly fine, just as long as you follow the rules of open source and the license that is connected to it. In fact, the license that I'm going to be putting on when we open source a Winter Protocol is actually going to be the most strict open source license. And the strict part of it is that if you choose to use this code, by using this code, you are obligated to make your code open source. So there are different types of licenses. There's 3 different licenses that you can put on these on open source. There's a lot of Apache going around. There's a GNU, but there is one that is actually the most hardcore one, and that's the one that I plan to use because, like I said, I am pretty militant about it staying open source, and so that would obligate the user. And so that's really the only negative that I see in using open source and copying the open source. If you don't do anything to it, well, then you don't do anything to it. You just kind of launch a copycat of whatever, or what do you want to call it? A copy of whatever code base is, you took it from. But what's the point? What is the point of launching a copycat? The other protocols already has the market share. They already made updates and adjustments. And so the one thing that you can't open source or copy is communities. And so if the community around your project and around your platform is solid, then you have nothing to worry about. Then let people use the code. The more the merrier. Because you can't copy communities. You can't fake communities. And that's really what it's all about.
Kind of can.
Well, you kind of can, but not for long. You sooner or later, you'll be listening to Ralph Nader. Is that? No, it's just some punk rock lyrics. Anyway, yeah. So that's my view of it. What do you think, UX?
Yeah, I think open source software really follows along the lines of let's take it back to the scientific method even. So you have, well, not the method, but the scientific sphere, where, I mean, you have these people doing amazing things, standing on the shoulders of people who did amazing things, standing on the shoulders of people who did amazing things. So you have all this open source research, essentially, or this knowledge of how research is done that people utilize to take it to the next step. So as Dan said, I mean, if somebody comes out and takes, like, I don't know, Nautilus and just rebrands it with a skin. Okay, what else are they offering? You know, are they going to have the expertise of Nemo to keep building and updating, or are they just going to keep forking and updating that just to reskin it? You know, that may bring some benefit to the community that likes that skin, perhaps, but other than that, you know, not so much. But if you get even bigger, let's say somebody takes all the back end, which is open source, to Spectrum. So you could take Spectrum's back end, you could build your entire front end on it and make it more attractive than Spectrum, perhaps. Is that a loss to Spectrum, or is that competition to Spectrum to, you know, tidy up their front end? I mean, I'm not saying it's untidy, but is that incentive
what are you saying, man?
God's that's going to kill me. Is that incentive for Spectrum to...
Is it Gaza or is it Gaza? Huzzah! That's how I always read it. I was like, Gaza!
Oh, that's a good point. I hear it called Gaza, but you're right. It's spelled Gaza.
You mean like the strip near Israel thing?
Yeah. I think that's how I hear it pronounced. So there's some incentive, you know, to have the competition to build the best front end there or offer more services. So yeah, I mean, one of the things that a lot of people forget is that the code's there not to just be in a sense of, oh, I open source my code, you know, I'm following the ethos of Ergo and it's out there for everybody to see. It's there for people to use. I mean, that's the whole damn point.
Yeah, it's not there for people to see, it's there for people to use. Like, that's the whole point.
It's not like it's not like a flex or anything. It's there for people to use and make better.
It's not like a painting, you know. You just don't just look at it. Like you do something with it. Yeah.
So we do notice in chat sometimes people get a little butthurt when code gets copied and reused and that kind of thing. But my goodness, like I said, if somebody wants to, you know, nobody would want to, but if somebody wants to copy my price bots and make it better, then by goodness, do it. HQ went ahead and did it all by himself without copying, but that's his issue. But yeah, so all that stuff, it's if we didn't share and we didn't make projects available to other people to build on, then we'd be pretty stagnant as a species, I think.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's all about, look, decentralization is also not just about it being cool, but it's more, I guess, what's the word? Utilitarian? Kind of, yeah. So what do I mean by that? It's a very it's meant for not just kind of, like I said, not just being there to defy the centralized entities, but because it's more efficient and it requires less centralized infrastructure. So that it's the same with open source. So you do open source. With open source, you automatically have decentralized auditing, right? So you decentralize your code auditing from other people that are using the code, right? They audit the code, they mess with the code, they mess up the code, or they don't mess up the code, they fix the code because you messed up. You decentralize that whole part. And that's really beneficial because it's either that or you have to pay for it. And I know some people kind of sound a little weaselly, but think about it. I mean, as far as business goes, right? To me, it makes more business sense to open source because I can involve the community and because I don't have to build up this huge internal centralized infrastructure to be able to build great products, right? Of course, the input, the type of work, the type of collaboration you get with open source is obviously different than if you actually paid somebody to do all these different things. But I think it's more robust. I think that if you collaborate with people when your project is open source and they're collaborating with you and they're making it better because they are motivated to do so. They are passionate about it. They are they're intrigued by it, right? It's not just because you're paying them. So I just think it's just a really, with a lot of things, just a better way to build. So yeah, that is my 25 cents or 10 yen or.
That's great, Dan.
5 yen. No, it's 50 yen. 50 yen, I guess. That's the closest denomination.
Yeah, I mean, look at recently with HODLcoin. I think I mentioned before, if it wasn't open source, well, I mean, if the contracts weren't out there, then somebody may have found a vulnerability before Crass saw it in the code and did its thing. So I mean, you have those benefits too. So it's really great community-wide sourced auditing. And I don't care how good of a coder you are. You're even Kushti or a collective of minds is going to be better at catching things than a single person. That's just the way it is.
Yeah. So we have a question here, and I don't know the answer to this, so I'm wondering if you do. So the question is, are there any mining difficulty adjustment fix talks? Home miners are getting wrecked by large farm switching since it takes too long to adjust.
I'm glad you asked that, Dan. Really glad you asked that. So what they're referring to is that, who was that? That was
Orellana. Oriana?
Is it Spanish? Oriana?
I don't know. I'm reading it. It's maybe it's Oriana, maybe it's Orellana.
Apologies.
Maybe it's Orellana.
Could be. So I'm glad you asked that. So one of the things, what they're referring to is there's a couple, either a couple farms or a couple miners that have quite a big hash rate that you'll see. You'll see, if you look at the hash rate chart, you'll see this. It's not a nice even line that goes up or down. It's literally this. So there's obviously a handful of hash that jumps on specifically when the difficulty drops and jumps off when it gets more difficult. And something that Ergo, that other people not mining Ergo like to, and I guess miners mining Ergo that we've heard, like to rag on us about, is that we weren't fast enough to make that change when the ETH merge happened, and that there are no changes happening now to fix the difficulty adjustment to stop people from jumping on and spiking the difficulty, jumping off when it spikes. So my answer to that is going to be very direct. And my answer to that is, miners, get off your asses and do something. It's not up to Joe. It's not up to Dan. It's not up to Kushti. It's up to you. So get off your asses and make an EIP. Talk to somebody if you don't know how to make an IP. Put suggestions forward. Write it out. Get it out there. Get it voted on. Get some interest. Get some coders to write the code to change it. I don't think it's a difficult change to change that difficulty like they did before for the ETH merge. Get some interest out there. Do it. It's in your best interest. If this is truly what's upsetting you and truly what's making a difference with people that you believe not mining Ergo or mining Ergo, then get out there and do it. Ergo was designed that the miners had a choice, and the miners control the network. So why not do it? Coming into chats, we have a couple drive-bys once in a while of people jumping into Telegram and doing a couple drive-by shootings about this kind of topic, and I see the exact same thing to them every single time. I've engaged one before too. I can't remember their name, but I've engaged them and got them talking about EIPs and got them talking about engaging a couple people. And I think a couple people volunteered to work with them, but that was the last I heard of them. So there you go. Perfect. Take as much control over the ecosystem as you can, says Michael. Exactly. So miners, I understand that it can be frustrating when things aren't working out that way, that you see a better way, but do something about it. This isn't Caspa. This isn't ETH. This isn't some other place where there's some deity god with a crown on that makes all the decisions. This is a decentralized community-run chain that anybody bringing forth code can get it changed. So do something.
That's right. That's right. Yeah. Take as much control over the ecosystem as possible, and or as you can, as says Kushti. Said Kushti, and now says Michael, and as other people have, and that's what decentralization is all about. And you don't want to be rocking the Casbah. Come on, you know you like that song, Q's. Come on.
And just to be clear, I've been told that what's it called? We love miners. I mean, Ergo is about miners, but I don't love that miners are better at accusations as opposed to action. So this is it. We just got to have a new era where miners want to make the change and want to benefit themselves, so they make the changes to, maybe change the difficulty spikes so that it's less of a spike there, and we can stop the 2 terahertz or whatever that hash is that keeps coming in and out. Rock the Casbah.
I was just the thing from Galaxy Quest hit me again. When you started talking about miners, I just once in a while I start giggling because I remember that the scene from Galaxy Quest. You know Galaxy Quest, right?
Oh yeah.
You remember when they're on the planet trying to get the sphere, and I forgot who says. It's like, well, this is a mine. Where are the miners? It's like, oh, over there. It's like miners. Yeah. Tony Schill was like, yeah, they're probably like 6 years old. And then Alan Rickman says, miners, not miners. It's like, I'm not following you.
Oh, God bless Alan Rickman's soul.
Yeah. Those must be the miners. Oh yeah, I know. They're like 6 years old.
If anybody hasn't seen Galaxy Quest, please download it or torrent it or whatever. No, I don't condone torrenting, but find it. It's absolutely
Grepthar's
fantastic
hammer,
movie.
by the sons of Warvan, you shall be avenged.
It's fantastic.
Yeah,
Sigourney
but then
Weaver, Alan Rickman, Tim Allen. Who else?
Oh my God. Oh my God, man, he's like super famous now. Oh my God, the guy that played crewman number 6. Oh my God, I can't believe I like, it's one of those brain farts where I know exactly.
Sam Rockwell.
Sam Rockwell. Oh my God, I hate when that happens. Sam Rockwell. Yeah. Sam Rockwell was in that.
Justin Long, Tony Shalhoub, Rainn Wilson. Oh my gosh, the cast goes on. It's fantastic.
Yeah. That movie. I saw it in theaters actually. Man, that was great. Yeah, Monk was a great show. Michael Manos is saying Monk. Yeah, that was definitely a great show. My mom used to love that show. Anyway, let's see. Okay, we're gonna leave off on the on this kind of. Oh, by the way, do you think the Casbah can help humanity get to Venus? Well, what do you think, UX?
I think if it solves your back pain, Dan, it can probably do anything.
Well, if rocking the Casbah makes the king call out his jet fighters, maybe they can make it to Venus. So yes, it can help humanity get to Venus and beyond, even to the sun, especially to the sun. That is hot, and that would be awesome. Anyway,
directly into the sun. Yeah,
directly. Yeah, stare directly into the sun, then you'll be rocking the Casbah. Anyway,
is Michael trying to bait us with Casbah? Is that what's going on?
I think so. Well, at least it's not Arbitrum. Anyway, quick last one here. Did Index Exchange ever make contact after Ergo winning the vote for listing? Not that I know of, but then again, maybe in
the back end.
I don't know.
Not that I know of. Yeah.
Not that I know of. Maybe they have. Maybe Joe knows something. I'll have to ask him, but not that I know of. And we did win. We did win that poll.
Ween's a great band, Dan.
Yeah. You like that? You like my Freudian slips?
Yep.
Slip-ons.
We did win the poll, and they see us. They see us, Dan. They told us they see us, just like in Avatar, where Jake Scully sees his wife. I see you, Dan.
Well, I see you too. It's, video phone, man. Video phone, 21st century, man. Yeah. We got video phones and flying cars, and well, no, we don't have those. And hoverboards.
Yeah, let's hope it doesn't stop you guys on Twitter from pinging them and saying, "Hey, remember Ergo from 2 days ago in the poll? What's up?"
Yeah. So listen, just if they do want to get back to somebody, get back to Uncle Dan, Papa, Papa Perg, get back to me. Just let's see if these guys will make good on their word and get us on there. That would be nice.
Are you allowed in Canada anymore, Dan?
Canada. You mean Canada, right?
Yeah, Canadian land. Canadian land.
Canada. Yeah, I think so. Is it? Are they still trying to pretend like they're their own country, or are they finally joined the U.S.?
No, they're still trying to be their own country.
Oh God! Do they still have that the Trudeau guy? Is he the guy that wears the pink ties all the time?
Yes, guy. I think he still is. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I think did he personally ban you himself? No,
I think it was the other way. He just kind of got a little bit touchy and feeling. I was like, I don't know, man. I'm a married man, Justin. Well, look, I haven't been to Canada in a long time, but who knows? Maybe something will happen, and I'll take a wrong turn at Albuquerque. And
you got one last question, Dan.
Oh,
it's from AKN in chat.
Okay.
I think Simon asked this question. Rero asked this question. This is a question asked quite a lot in Gulag and Baseless. At least it used to be. But let's see what your answer is there.
Oh, well. There we go. My dad just called to answer that question. Well, let's see. I do, various business development and organizational activities. Hang on one second. My dad is very persistent. There we go. Hang on one second. Let me just turn that off because I think my dad doesn't want me to answer that question. There we go. So basically, I do two things. I do organizational and then I do business development. Organizational meaning that I provide support within the Ergo ecosystem, the Ergo Foundation, for various different things like organizing media with Andy, organizing marketing with some of the Ergo Foundation members, working with Joe on various internal things, as well as working on, say, exchange listing when those happen. Also working on accelerating and liaisoning projects in the ecosystem. So a good example is Rosen. So I'm, spending quite a bit of time right now with the Zengate team to get Rosen out there, to get Rosen launched, and to get Rosen integrated.
Are you going to have your NFTs for Rosen swap chains? Is that your final? Is that your goal in the end? So if I have a commodity on Cardano, I can bring it over to Ergo via Rosen.
Yeah, that's something that would be really cool, I think.
Dan, I know exactly what you do, and let's see if you know this. You deal with the goddamn customers, so the engineers don't have to.
I have people
skills, Dan. You're good at dealing with
people. Why can't you understand that? What the hell is wrong with you people? By the way, no offense to anybody who actually does this, but it just really dawned on me. I mean, I kind of always knew this, but it just kind of, the dots connected in my head. What was his name? Tom Spakowski. I think that was his name in the movie. He's a product person. Like he's a product owner.
What's he own? The Jump to Conclusions, Matt?
Yeah, the Jump to Conclusions guy. Yeah, that guy's a product owner. It's like, so you physically take the specs from the customers to the engineers. Like, well, no, I have people that do that. okay, so then you physically bring them. It's like, no, people do that too. The project managers do that. It's like, well, what is it you do here? Well, I'm a product person. Yeah. So that's yeah, exactly. Everybody should watch Office Space today and remind themselves why we are degens. Actually, Office Space is like balls on accurate about working in the IT field back in the 90s. It was like, this was my life back in the 90s when I was just starting out during the .com boom. This was literally my life. Like, I mean, I wasn't working on the, because what they were working on in Office Space is it's probably COBOL. So back in, right before 2000, they had to change the oldest COBOL code base because it wasn't meant to go up till the year 2000 because it would think it's 1900. So that's what these guys are doing. They were updating bank software for the year 2000, which basically, it was basically run on COBOL.
Who were you in that movie? Were you Peter Gibbons or Samir? Or Michael Bolton?
No,
you are Michael Bolton.
I think, I was Michael Bolton. Yeah,
goddamn
it was
decimal
Michael
points,
Bolton.
right?
Yeah. I missed a decimal point. I always do that. I always miss some mundane detail. Yeah, it's you can just call me Mike. Yeah, it's I was that guy. I think I was that guy. I was actually I used to listen to the Ghetto Boys. The music that he listens to in that, the rap, that group is called the Ghetto Boys.
Wow.
The best is when Samir actually does like back up in your ass with that resurrection. Yeah, that was.
I actually did that the copier scene where they bust up a copier in the field. I worked at a fairly soulless job in the early 2000s, and we did that. Somebody left and to go to a greener pastures, and I stole. Oh, well, I didn't steal. Well, I shouldn't say that. Were we recording this? I took one of those Bondi blue iMacs, and we brought it to the party, and we started cranking the music and brought him out into the lawn, and I handed him a sledgehammer. It was a fantastic moment.
But you know what? The whole PC load letter thing is real. Yes. Like, that is real. That was real. Like some of these older printers would spit out PC load letter, and nobody knew what the hell that meant. It's like PC load letter. What the fuck does that mean?
We got any closing, Dan?
I think okay. So the closing, of course, the high quality Erg asks, would Uncle Dan like to be a Sigmanaut? QX don't hate me.
I already hate Q. I already hate HQ, so it's fine. It's fine. No big deal.
Yes. I will. I would like to be a Sigmanaut.
Really? Is this genuine, Dan?
Well, yeah, why not? I mean, there's blackjack and hookers, right?
Yeah. Well, our budget's a little bit smaller. We don't fly first class on the EF budget like you do.
Well, fine. Okay. I'm going to start my own Sigmanauts with blackjack and hookers.
Is that Bender? No, who's that?
Yeah, that is Bender. Yeah.
Bender,
Bender. Anyway, I think that's a good place to leave off today. I think so. That is.
It's been a wacky AMA.
All right. It has been a wacky AMA. The wackiest, at least for today. Anywho. All right, everybody. Well, thanks for all the great questions. This was a fun AMA. And not just because, Quality Extreme was here. Well, even though he was here, it was still a fun AMA. But anyway. All right, guys. Well, thanks a lot for watching. Thanks a lot for the questions. Thanks a lot to QX's dog for interrupting us.
Mm-hmm.
And thanks a lot, QX, for coming on to the AMA. Well, it was like having you, regardless of what Joe says.
I know.
I don't know if it was covered.
Anyway.
Joe's told me in private before.
Yeah. No, he told you in public too.
I know.
Anyway, all right, guys. Thanks a lot, and we will see you next week, same time, same channel.
Ciao, everybody.